going to move into our presentations. Our first one is our accent on academics. Dr. Shandor.
Thank you, Mr. Medford. For this evening's accent on academics, we will have a presentation from Yorktown Middle School. Fractions and decimals fund our feast. Yorktown Middle School Foundations of Algebra students in grade 6 used fractions, decimals, and practical problem solving to create a menu for a Thanksgiving feast hosted by a local food bank. Students collected recipes, formed a budget, and enlarged portions for mass feeding. To share more about this presentation and introduce the students and other presenters is Dr. Susan Hutton, principal from Yorktown Middle School.
Thank you, Dr. Shandor. Also, good evening, Chairman of the Board, Mr. Medford, and esteemed school board members. I want to thank all of you for your time and the opportunity to showcase an example of our students' learning this evening. I welcome and I also appreciate all others who are joining us, including teachers, students, parents, and community members. I'm Susan Hutton, principal of Yorktown Middle School. Tonight, I'm excited to share one of the projects our grade 6 math teachers implemented this year. The 6th grade math team works collaboratively in their planning of instructional projects. They focus on integrating the foundations of algebra Part 1 curriculum into meaningful learning for their students. The math teachers ensure the students have real-world connections, use critical thinking, and collaborate with their peers while making a difference beyond the classroom. The project highlighted tonight, entitled Fund the Feast, took place back in the fall and involved about 200 students. It was amazing to see how the students used math to consider many aspects of an in-depth project that included learning about local and global poverty with real-world connections of using decimals and fractions for comparing serving sizes, multiplying recipe quantities, and forming a budget. With me this evening is Miss Elizabeth O'Brien, one of our York Middle School math teachers, and 2 of her students, Jenny and Chloe, who at this time will talk to us more about Fund the Feast.
Good evening, Dr. Shandor, Chairman Medford, and members of the school board. I'm Elizabeth O'Brien, one of the 4 6th grade math teachers who designed and implemented this project-based learning unit entitled Fund the Feast. In designing the project, our goal was not only to incorporate the decimal applications and fraction operations that are taught at the 6th grade level, but also to make cross-cultural connections, increase the use of 21st century learning skills, and to include writing across the curriculum. The 21st century learning skills included collaboration and communication skills that were used extensively by the student-led catering companies. The use of technology was not only used by the students to design their presentations, but was also used to access information during the research phase of the project. In addition, students learned about cultures and traditions beyond those celebrated in America during this project. Finally, in keeping with the goals of our school's improvement plan, we incorporated writing skills into several phases of the project, including the culminating presentation that required persuasive speech writing. Tonight I've brought with me 2 of my students, Chloe Brazil and Jenny Wagner, to share with you their journey through this project-based learning unit.
We were introduced to this unit when Miss O'Brien shared with us a letter from the Peninsula Food Bank. The letter asked us to create a catering company that would create a meal for 100 people for a Thanksgiving feast for their clients. We had to have a turkey, vegetable starch, and dessert as part of our menu. We chose recipes to scale up and made lists of ingredients needed.
Here's an example of a recipe, and here's how to multiply the fractions to get an appropriate amount of ingredients to feed 100 people. Sweet potatoes. The amount for one dish is 3.5 pounds. Then you have to times it by 6 1/4 to make it feed 100 people. First, you'll have to change them in proper fractions, so you'll do 3 times 2 plus 1, which equals 7. So it'll be 7 over 2 because the denominator stays the same. Do the same to the other fraction, it will be 25 over 4. Then times them together and you'll get 175 over 8. Then see how many times 8 goes into 175 and you'll get 21 7/8. then you'll have to round it up to 22 pounds.
We used technology to help us with our project. We used the Farm Fresh website to compare prices and find the price of ingredients. We used what we learned about unit pricing to help us. We also used QR codes that we scanned to help us learn about poverty in York County and all around the world.
Groups had to do a presentation on a poster, PowerPoint, or an iMovie. You had to include 5 facts about poverty that we researched. It also included menus with all the ingredients. You had to have cost per person and the total cost of the menu.
We also had to research facts about Thanksgiving and other traditions around the world. This is when we learned about the Harvest Festival, that is celebrated like our Thanksgiving in other parts of the world.
The food was donated by all the 401 families. Families that were not able to contribute food, they could bring in empty cereal boxes with price tags on them. We used the donated food items to learn how to do unit pricing. All the food was donated after the unit was completed.
I learned how to help my mom with recipes when she was baking, like when we made cookies and we wanted to make more than the recipe serves, and we also had to double it. I also learned how to look at prices more in the grocery store.
I learned to look and shop for the better deals at the grocery store. I also know how to do math better too.
Thank you.
That was great. That was great.
All I can do is say, wow, I'm hungry. Not in huge quantities like that, though. But for the students, a question for you, too. You know, you've been in math classes before as you've, gone through the schools. When a teacher added this kind of difference to that math class, did you think did it make it more exciting? Did it make you stay focused more? Did you actually really enjoy what you were doing, which obviously we could tell you did, but how did you feel about that difference in the math class?
We felt like it was more exciting to learn and more fun to learn about new math skills and easier too.
I love this because you've turned just numbers on a math worksheet into something real life and practical, and it's made the learning fun. I'm very excited about this project. I hope you continue it and spread the word to the other schools.
It was a great presentation.
It is fantastic.
And I like the fact that now you're in the grocery store with your parents, and you're actually now checking out the deals, the pricing, figuring out how much that junk food costs versus something else maybe that you would get that would be healthier. That's kind of a neat concept of what happens after you finish your class project. So, great job. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
York Middle School rocked it again.